Hello, my name is Kyri Friedman. Today, we will discover the ancient Greeks and their impact on modern society. Therefore, I could easily introduce myself as an ancient geek. Today, we will uncover the past, compare it to the present, and consider the future by looking at how this ancient culture paved the road for the modern world. The ancient Greeks lived roughly 2,500 years ago, and along that way, we lost 98% of their ideas. But the small seeming 2% left for us has been enough to lead us to now. The ancient Greeks influenced us in many ways, 3 of which I will share today. I have learned that as the values and beliefs of the ancient Greeks led them to a very civilized culture with powers and pitfalls, our personal values and beliefs will do the same to us. First, the ancient Greeks had a high value of equality, leading them to arrange a new system of running their city-states, democracy. Their democracy system was similar to ours, using pieces of broken pottery with scratched on a writing rather than the current voting ballots. But what they wrote is different from now. Contrary to the modern-day system, the people voted directly on the decision instead of choosing someone to make the decisions as a representative. The Greeks had an equal democracy system, meaning that no matter their wealth, each qualified voter only got 1 vote. Of course, the only voters were free men of Greek origins over the age of 30. But there was no such thing as a perfect system. Democracy was not the only good idea of the Greeks. Prepare yourself for science and mathematics. When we think of ancient Greek science and mathematics, we think of a bunch of old guys with big white beards wearing togas. Another quality of these ancient Greeks is long names. One of these such names is Eratosthenes, a mathematical philosopher who measured the Earth's circumference by comparing the altitude of the midday sun in 2 places. Though he calculated this in an unknown form of measurement that the ancient Greeks used, we were able to use the formula to find the answer in kilometers and miles. Another long name, Aristotle, belongs to a philosopher who revolutionized astronomy. He drew the first map of our solar system with the planets orbiting the sun, guessed the order of the planets in the solar system correctly, and speculated that the sun may be similar to the stars. Archimedes was another famous philosopher. He changed mathematics completely. He created modern calculus, thought of many geometrical theorems, created working pulleys and levers, landed on an accurate approximation of pi, and discovered how to measure the areas of many shapes, including circles and squares. You may have heard the famous names Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, the 3 most genius philosophers of ancient Greece, all said to be better than the other 2 on the internet. They, in the order I listed, taught one another, and Aristotle tutored Alexander the Great. Some of us have heard of Plato's Allegory of the Cave, Aristotle's Virtues, and the Socratic Method. There are more names to list, but the general idea here is that the ancient Greeks were geniuses. Why? Because one of their values, knowledge. The ideas of the amazing scientists and mathematicians were listened to, not drowned out, so Greece became an intellectual country. Though indeed brain, another focus of the ancient Greeks was brawn. They created the first Olympic Games. The games occurred every 4 years to please the main god, Zeus. Quickly, the Olympics gained power, and they were held not only for God's entertainment, but for the ancient Greeks' entertainment as well. The many events spanned from marathons to long jump to a dangerous wrestling game called pancration, and all men eligible to vote could compete without tryouts, and indeed, many did. Though the only physical prize to the winner of each event was a single laurel wreath, statues of winners were erected, their faces inscribed on coins, and fame and glory entailed. You see, the beliefs of the ancient Greeks, their very religion, led them into a love for sports and created a healthy, active society. First, A value of equality led the Greeks to the democracy system that we still use today, advancing their country above others. Second, a value of knowledge created geniuses, less because the people were inspired to grow, more because the ideas of the few with inspiration were not drowned out. Finally, the Olympic Games were born out of faith to a god, but led to a love and strength for sports. Now, audience, I invite you to take a look at your life. Do you enjoy certain activities because you excel at them? Or, like the Greeks, do you excel at certain activities because you enjoy them? Thank you.